Hello class 9. In our last computer class, we started chapter 1, Introduction to Object-Oriented Programming Language, Unit 1, Principles of Object-Oriented Programming. Okay. So in the beginning, we started the types of computer language. There are two types of computer languages, low-level languages and high-level languages. Again, there are two types of low-level languages, machine-level language and assembly-level language. And we discussed the advantages of assembly level language, limitations of assembly level language, and what is the high level language. Now we'll discuss about the compiler and interpreter. See, a program in high level language needs to be converted into machine code, that is called binary code. Machine code is called binary code, so that computer can understand the instructions for processing. The computer understands only the machine level language, that is the binary codes. So if the program contains any error, then it must be corrected for successful execution. Debugging must be done. So the conversion of high level languages, the program written in high level language is called source program or source code, to machine level language, that is the binary code or object program, can be done in two ways, either by using a compiler or by an interpreter. So a software, what is compiler? A software that accepts the whole program at a time, written in high level language, that is called source program or source code, and converts it into equivalent program in machine level language, is known as the compiler. It is known as the what? It is known as the compiler. Okay. Now, compiler accepts the whole program at a time and converts into machine level language if there is no error. If there are errors, it displays the list of error at last. Okay. So this was compiler. The program which the compiler uses for conversion is known as the source program or source code. Once again, the program written in high level language is known as source program or source code, and the program converted into machine level language is known as object program or object code. Alright. So a compiler is designed exclusively to convert a program written in a specific high level language. That means if there are 10 different high level languages, then we need 10 different compilers. One compiler can be used for one high level language. Alright, this means that each high level language, level programming language requires a separate compiler for conversion. For example, a Fortran compiler is capable of only translating a Fortran program. A COBOL compiler will convert only COBOL program. A computer system may have more than one compiler for more than one high level language. Now comes the interpreter. The software which converts the instructions written in high level languages into their equivalent instructions in machine level language, line by line or statement by statement, is known as the interpreter. See, compiler and interpreter both does the same work, but compiler accepts the whole program at a time and converts this line by line or statement by statement. Okay, if an error is found on any line, the execution stops there till it is corrected. This process of correcting errors is easier than the compiler, but the program takes more time to execute successfully. Okay, an interpreter is generally used in microcomputers. It helps the programmer find out the errors and correct them before the control moves to the next statement. Okay, if the error is found, it stops there only. After correcting the error only, it moves to the next statement. Compilers and interpreters are system software. Both are examples of system software, and they are also known as language processor. Okay. So the compiler is comparatively faster than the interpreter, but sometimes it becomes difficult to correct errors since it displays all the errors together. Now we have some differences between compiler and interpreter. First, compiler converts the whole source program into the object program at a time. Interpreter converts the source program into the object program one line at a time. Okay, so it is slow and compiler is fast. Second, it displays the errors for the whole program together after compilation. After compilation, it displays all the errors. The other side, it displays the errors one line at a time and only after debugging that error. Debugging means correcting and removing the errors. Debugging means correcting and removing the errors. The control goes to the next line. So this was about the language processor or translator, about compiler and interpreter. Now, types of high-level languages. High-level languages are broadly classified into three major categories. First one, a structure-oriented programming language. Second one, procedure-oriented programming language. And third one, object-oriented programming language. Third one is object-oriented programming language. It will be object. Okay, object-oriented programming language. Now let us see one by one. Okay, first one, a structure-oriented programming language. A structure-oriented language uses a modular approach. It is written in using the module in different module to improve the clarity, quality, and the development time of the programming steps. It is easy to write. It uses various logical structure like the structure of selective control, selective if statement, a structure of looping block, a structure of subroutines or functions. Okay, what are the examples? Examples are like Algol and Pascal language. These are the examples of structure-oriented programming language. Second is procedure-oriented programming language, POP. The procedure-oriented approach allows the users to develop their logic by using a number of functions that would enhance the program's productivity. Examples are BASIC, COBOL, Fortran, C. Okay, procedure-oriented programming or POP basically consists of a list of instructions. It consists of what? A list of instructions for the computer to follow, and these are organized into groups, and these groups are known as functions. We normally use a flow chart to organize these actions and represent the flow of control from one function to another. What is needed? Flow chart. In procedure-oriented programming, most of the functions share global data, globally used, and this data moves more openly around the system from one function to another. And in a program, when we deal with a program containing many functions that we'll be studying in Java programming, important data items are globally used by all the functions. So programs based on this topic we'll study in class 10. However, a function may contain its own local data to deal with logical situation. All right. So this was the procedure-oriented programming. In this system, the global data are loosely attached to the functions. They keep floating throughout the program in order to make any change in the function. You may need to reschedule the associated data values. Now we have some characteristics of procedure-oriented programming. First, emphasis is given on function. Second, functions share global data. Functions share what? Global data. Third, data values can keep floating from one function to another. Fourth, it uses top-down approach. We write the program from top to bottom. We have some limitations of procedure-oriented programming language. Any data values are global to all the functions. You may require to make necessary changes in all the functions in case of any change in the data values. And it is not suitable to solve complex problems in real situations. So this was the procedure. You are supposed to learn only the definition. No need to get what we discuss here in detail. No need to memorize, no need to learn, just learn only the definition. So next is object oriented programming language. An object oriented programming OOP is a modular approach which allows the data to be applied within a stipulated area, limited area. It also provides the reusability feature to develop productive logic, which means to give more emphasis on data. Okay. What happens in procedure oriented programming basically consists of an organized group of instructions known as function, and flowcharts are used to organize the instructions and guide the movement. It happens in the what? Procedure oriented programming. So in contrast to procedure oriented programming, object oriented programming is an approach to standardize the programs by creating partition memory area for both data and function. In this system, the complete problem is decomposed into a number of entities called the objects. Each and every part of the program is known as objects. Now, what are the features of object-oriented programming? It gives importance to the data items rather than the function. It gives the importance on the what? Data items rather than the function. It makes the complete program or problem simpler by dividing it into a number of objects, and it makes the complete and the objects can be used as a bridge to have data flow. So objects are part of the program. A program consists of objects, and the concept of data hiding enhances the security in program. The data is hidden and it is highly beneficial to solve complex problem. Okay, so this was we discussed about 3 types of programming. So learn all the taught terms. Thank you.